You've made it to the largest national museum in France, Musée du Louvre. The Louvre, as it is often called, is not only the largest museum in France, it is also the most visited museum in the world. The museum houses several pieces of art which are renowned all over the world, the most famous one being Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. While today's Louvre serves as a huge museum, it has gone through several different phases throughout history. The known history of the Louvre started as early as the year 1190, when King Filip II built a fortress on the site to protect Paris from Viking raiders. The remains of this fortress can actually still be found in the Louvre's crypt. During the 14th century, Charles V converted the fortress into a royal residence, and later, in 1546, Francis I had the whole site renovated in the French Renaissance style you can see today. Francis I is by many seen as the founder of the modern Louvre, as he is not only the one who renovated it, but also the one who acquired the Louvre's centerpiece, the Mona Lisa. If you take a look next to the main entrance to Pavillon Sully, you will see an inscription on either side. The left one says that in 1541, Francis began the construction of the modern Louvre. Underneath, you can read that Catherine de Médicis, wife to Francis' second son, founded the Tuileries Palace in 1564. The inscription on the right side tells you that Napoleon III united the Louvre with the Tuileries between the years 1852 and 1857. The Tuileries Palace was standing behind the large arch, which now forms the entrance to the Louvre, and looked very similar to what the Louvre is today. The palace was at this time connected to the Louvre, so the courtyard you're standing in used to be an enclosed space. The Tuileries Palace was later burned and destroyed during the reign of the Paris Commune in the late 19th century. But let's not get ahead of things. When did the Louvre begin to serve as a museum instead of a royal residence? Well, during the reign of Louis XIV, the construction and expansion of the Louvre was slowed down as Louis moved his court from the Louvre to Versailles in the late 17th century. Instead of housing the royal court, the Louvre began to serve as more of a museum and a residence for artists. The museum was, however, still very much closed to the general public. By the mid-18th century, more and more voices were calling for a public gallery within the Louvre. Louis XV soon agreed on this matter and displayed some of the royal collection in the Louvre for the public. With this, the idea of a national museum was born. However, none of the many offers suggesting that the Louvre would be turned into a museum was agreed to by the king. After the French Revolution, in the end of the 18th century, the newly constituted National Assembly decided that the Louvre should serve as a public museum and display the nation's masterpieces. The museum was opened for the public in 1793, with an exhibition of 537 paintings, the majority of these works being confiscated church and royal property. With the opening of the public museum, the modern Louvre, as we know today, was born. As noted before, the architectural style of the Louvre is typical French Renaissance. By looking at the outside of the Louvre, you will see that it is covered in magnificent sculptures. Above the first level, you can see a row of statues that go all along the front facade. These are statues of noted French scholars and other academics that played a part in the French history. While the Louvre buildings themselves are impressive, there are some other features worth noting. One of them is the arch that makes the entrance to the Louvre. This arch, built in the early 19th century, is called Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel. The arch was, just like its famous big brother, built in honor of Napoleon Bonaparte's military victories. While it is only half the size of the Arc de Triomphe, it is still an impressive sight. Another main feature of the Louvre is of course the glass pyramid. The pyramid was designed by the American-Japanese architect Liu Ming-pei on order by the French president François Mitterrand in 1983. Mitterrand had arranged an architectural competition for a grand renovation of the Louvre, where one of the main objectives was to create a new entrance into the Louvre. Pei's winning entry is a smart construction. It creates a new entrance to the Louvre, while at the same time not blocking the view to the main buildings due to its glass construction. It did, however, cause a lot of controversy when it was introduced, as its modern looks is very different compared to its surrounding Renaissance buildings. The origin of the name Louvre is somewhat uncertain. Some believe it refers to the structure's status as the largest building in the 12th century Paris, as the French word for masterpiece is le chef d'œuvre. Being the world's most visited museum, the Louvre receives around 15,000 visitors per day, so expect some crowds. The crowds usually aren't terrifying though, as Musée du Louvre has so many objects and covers such a large area. It covers more than 60,000 square meters and holds more than 380,000 objects, so you can forget about doing the whole Louvre in one afternoon. Through the years, the museum has been the location for several major events, and to an extent it still is today. For example, more recently, the museum played a key part in the famous book, The Da Vinci Code. Today, the Louvre and its surroundings has become an icon of Paris, and it is loved by almost everyone who visits it.